Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Those who've joined us on Zoom today, and also those who will be watching later on as well, with the catch up for a new instalment of an element of Britain's in history that's emerging with Paul Challenger and Tim. And I have to congratulate Paul on getting Tim on camera for these. A very knowledgeable guy, very nice guy as well. He showed me some of his view sites since I've moved to Wales recently. He's an absolute encyclopedia of knowledge. So I'm glad you're getting him on camera. Great. Um, um, and you've been to Llanid Vale, is that right, Paul?
Yeah, I had to think then. Where is
Yeah.
Llanid Major, yes.
Yeah,
and
Llanid Major.
Ystrad Owen and other places as well. And in Llanid Vale, we met Jonathan Jones, author of a book about to come out. And Jonathan is with us this evening.
Fantastic. So I guess we'll have a chance to talk to Jonathan after the video and discuss anything in the chat that people might have noticed or raise questions, etc. And I guess we'll just go ahead and play the video and have discussion afterwards.
Where are we, Tim?
Well, good morning, Paul. I'm not going to answer that because if you turn the camera that way, everybody will see exactly where we are. This is Ystrad Owen in the Vale of Glamorgan, about 4 miles from Cowbridge, and we've come to have a look at a mound. The old church is there. Don't know when it dates from, but the bell tower looks like it might be Norman. Not sure which was the original part of this church, the earliest part, or whether it was built like that, or whether it's been extended. And if so, which bit's the extension, the big bit or the little bit? Go.
There's something about the extensions and the degrees. What's that all about then?
Well, sometimes if a church has been extended and the surveyors check the orientation, sometimes the pole north might have shifted, and therefore the east-west alignment might have shifted, and any correction that's made is evident in the offset between the older part of the church and the newer part of the church.
Which proves that the poles have shifted.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look at the mound then. And the mound is under those trees. Where are we, Tim?
I think we're in Ystrad Owen, Paul. Got the old church there, which is sprouting whiskers at the top of the tower. And behind me, we've got a rather impressive, massive burial mound with trees all over it. This book, Wilson and Blackett, Altorius Rex Discovered, page 190, they say, they're talking about where the kings are buried, and their investigations show that King Owen ap Morgan Hen had his castle and church near Ystrad Owen, near Cowbridge, and is said to be buried in the churchyard. There is in fact a very large tumulus grave mound in the churchyard to prove this. As Spike Milligan would go. For King Owen ap Morgan, Hen is said to lie beneath it. In the same way, Ithael ap Owen, his son, lived at Ton Ithael D, now called Tondi, at Llanginwydd, 5 miles north of Bridgend. Llanginwydd is known as the Old Parish, and its church foundation is very ancient, being dedicated to St. Cynwydd ap Cynfelyn, who was St. Caradoc's Llancarvan, who was at St. Caradoc's Llancarvan Monastery. It was a very old castle site here, referred to in 1307 AD as an ancient castle, and that was used by the Normans for a while and was in existence in 1257, and by 1295 a castle burned in the war. It was some 440 yards west of the church, and there are some very old earthwork sign at the site. It's a hollow. It's in a hollow, and it's not a typical Norman site at all, being overlooked by high ground. And so this is more likely to be the home of Ithael ap Owen ap Morgan Hen, the friendly native lord of the area. And they go on to say that in the case of the tumulus at Ystrad Owen, there is said in local tradition to be the place of King Owen ap Culin ap Caradog of around 100 AD. In fact, we're dealing with such an enormous time span and so many kings using the same names, that there are bound to be these problems of dual identity. The sheer size of the tumulus, just like the one at Caerleon, is sufficient indication to suggest that this is the place of King Owain ap Culin ap Caradog. So that's what they have to say about that. Either way, we got a king there.
Yeah. And where was the castle then for 140 yards? It's all over there, is it?
Don't ask me that, Paul. I've lost the page.
That's not 440 yards, is it?
It's not. No, that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a hollow the other side, wasn't there?
Mm.
Excellent.
Yeah, but this is the the grave mound of King Owain, according to Wilson and Blackett, and they reckon because it's such a big grave mound that it would be quite an early one. So who he is and what it is, we'll have to have a little look at. Impressive, isn't it?
It is impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
And no doubt it's called a monkey tump in the village. They usually are. And kids for generations have played on them. Kids for generations have played on them, shouting, "I'm the king of the castle, get down you dirty rascal."
King of the castle, yeah. It looks like at some point it's been dug out, doesn't it?
It looks as if it's been dug out.
Oigled. Massively impressive.
It is. Look at the side, it keeps on going up. You know, we're climbing up again, Bear.
What's the other one? Over at
So if this was dug out, it was dug out a long time ago.
Badger country, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see how that the hillock just merges into it on that end.
Yeah.
Where are we, Tim? Where are we then?
Castle Street, Landwick Major, at the junction of Castle Street and Wick Road.
And why are we here then?
Because over there, by the sign that says Wick Road, there's a little well. And the little well is called Samson's Well. And Saint Samson was the son of Anna, and Anna was a daughter of King Myrick. Therefore, Anna was a sister of King Arthur II, and Saint Samson was Arthur's nephew. Okay.
Interesting. And Arthur, of course, is legendary. It doesn't exist.
Yep, but the well does.
But the well does, yeah. Where are we, Tim?
Okay, we're outside a little bookshop in Lantwick Major, and it's called Bardic Vintage Books, and it's run by a lovely lady called Kath.
Well, Tim reckons this bookshop's run by a lovely lady called...
How are you, Kath?
Hello. Well, I'll have to try and live up to that. Thank you very much, Tim. The check's in the post.
Okay.
So you're open on a Sunday and Saturday, Sunday?
I am open Wednesday through to Sunday. So Monday and Tuesday is like my weekend and my time to sort of order books and do all those other things.
So if somebody from Britain's Hidden History was looking for a particular book,
Yes.
do you think you'd be able to find it?
I'm a retired English teacher and former bookseller before that. And books are the joy of my life, and I enjoy looking for books for people, something that's rare, out of print. I do a little bit of a book hunt as an adventure, so yeah, I'd love to.
Excellent.
So I just want people to come and enjoy the shop. Don't worry about buying a book, just come and
And if you want anything about
have a look around.
South Wales, there's loads of local Welsh interest, local Welsh history here, and you get a good flow of local books that you wouldn't find sort of in bigger bookshops, mainstream bookshops, anything like that.
That would be my particular interest here.
You're welcome.
And
Well, I notice you have a book here about Iolo Morgannwg, written by Gareth Thomas,
Yes.
who's moved back to Wales. I think he spent time in London.
Yes, he did. A former drama teacher, an actor, and an absolute authority on Iolo Morgannwg, and a brilliant speaker. And actually we're doing an event on the 8th of March. Gareth Thomas and some local musicians are going to be playing some of Iolo Morgannwg's original music. And there's going to be singing and discussion about Iolo's controversial life that's absolutely fascinating, man. And, I think there's so much more to be said about him.
And where will that be held then,
That
Kath?
will be held in St Illtyd's Church, which is, well, one of the fascinating Iolo Morgannwg things about St Illtyd's Church is not only is there some stone masonry in the church by Iolo Morgannwg, but if you step outside the Galilee Chapel, which was restored about 15 years ago, I think, you will find Margaret Edwards, that's Iolo Morgannwg's daughter, and his wife Peggy buried just outside the Galilee Chapel. So, there's a little bit of the Edwards family there in Llaniltyd Fawr Church. Yeah.
Does that mean we've got a double back now?
there we are. And your website is?
Is bardicvintagebooks.com. So there'll be lots of information about the Iolo Morgannwg Day, but if you're interested in Iolo Morgannwg, then please come along on the 8th of March. And in 2026 we're planning a Iolo Morgannwg festival, so watch this space, because it'll be the bicentenary of his death.
Ah, that'd be fantastic.
So,
That would be
Fantastic,
lovely.
yeah. Where are we, Will?
We're at Lantwick Major Town Hall, and the Town Hall is a very ancient building, goes back many, many years, and at one time the locals used to say this was the tallest building in the world. And the reason they said that is that when you stand on the steps there, on the front of the Town Hall, and you look down towards the square in Lantwick, you're looking over the Globe, which is the local pub. And that's why it's the tallest building in the world,
Because you're looking down on the globe.
because you're looking down on the globe.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Will. So you think that would have been a wooden building years
I
and
think
years
so,
ago?
usually. I think it would have been originally. And then it's had many uses. The Odd Fellows Club was here as well, though. So that was a very old club, the Odd Fellows, and used to, all the old photographs you'll see of Langton Major, you see them all marching to you. And now now it's lit up in modern times. We'll be doing the poppies down the front, and it's had various colours like blue and yellow for the Ukraines. So there's many different things that go on with it even today. And of course, it sits, the town hall staff of the Langton Major Town Council, and upstairs, well, my parents used to go dancing there many years ago. So it was, it's got a lot going for it then, and still makes it an integral part of Langton Major.
And the ladies were saying that they're raising funds for the refurbishment of Sampson's Well.
Yes, it's one of the mayor's charity, and Sampson's Well is an old well, and it's in need of repair. As many things like this building, and the church in Langton, it still needs lots of money to keep it in good order. So that's what everybody does and gets together to see what they can do.
So if you wanted to contribute to the refurbishment of the well, you would...
It would be the mayor's charity, which is Councillor Peter Dixon.
Just send a donation to the mayor's charity.
If you get in contact with him, he will say how he would like the donation.
Right, yeah. That'd be worth knowing. Excellent. So you're a member of the history group. What kind of history do you study?
Oh,
because you've got such a range here, haven't you?
Yeah, we have been doing something because I'm a waterman. My background is water and rivers, because I've worked 51 years in the river industry.
Right.
We've been doing some research on wells in the area, and we were quite shocked to see how many wells we have.
I bet there's loads.
There's loads. And the more you delve and dig into this, the more you unearth, shall we say. So it's not surprising that there were many in some of the houses around here, and even at the bottom of the town hall, around 1900, water came from Midwell and West Street Pool up to here, and the children had there's a tap at the side of the town hall, and the children used to fill containers and charge farthing or halfpenny to anybody who wanted water. So there's a lot. Langton's steeped in it. We recently had a dig in that field down there, that field that's down there, and that was done by Dr. Tim Young. And they found some skeletons in the field, and it will be on in January in Digging for Britain with Professor Alice, I can't remember, Roberts, is it?
I think it might be, yeah. Alice Roberts, yeah.
So, even though there wasn't as much as like Stonehenge or anything like that, it's still a fascinating piece of history that's there, really. And it's always great for us, because when you see the narrow streets like this, you can appreciate what Langton was like. And as a lad walking around here, all these pavements are cobbled pavements.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, we're just lucky and blessed that we've got great archives in the History Society. Yeah. And that's open on a Friday afternoon between 3 and 5. So if anybody wants to see any local history stuff, that's the place to come and have a visit.
And that's in this town hall building, is it?
No, that's over in Wine Street in the old school that's there.
In Wine Street in the old school, yeah.
Yeah, so if you walk down there by the square, you walk up Wine Street, and there is the old school there, and you go upstairs in the first door to the archives there. And there's so much to see. I mean, most of the stuff you'll have seen in there earlier came from there,
Right.
So, of course, you've got Caer Mead, which you know about, the Roman Villa. Got the Blue-Black Trail around here, which you can follow and see that.
What's the Blue-Black Trail?
It's all the historic buildings in Langton Major.
So the Great House, the Great House, and
so you'll see one
castle
on the town hall, and of course there's an author, a famous author who used to who went by the name of Mary Trevelyan, and her father contributed to the town hall clock that you see in front of it today.
Indeed, yeah. And what do the locals think of the really old history and the links to early Christianity? And
well, my son is a teacher of English in Celt College in Cardiff, and he brings the students down here for a trip. And when he tells them about things like the earliest seat of learning in Britain, they're just amazed. And of course they go down the beach, and of course they have much better beaches from around the world. But they haven't seen a pebbled storm beach like it is in Langton, so it's different. And when you see the cliffs and everything. So going back to Christianity, yes, I think it should be taught more in schools about it.
Yeah.
To raise the locals' awareness.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I think you shouldn't lose sight of that. And there's many tales, and Mary Trevelyan has written so much on the books, on her legends and myths of Wales, etc.
Yeah.
But she's also written a very good book on Langtuit Major, and you can get copies now, but the original's worth quite valuable.
Yeah.
But if you go down to Bardic Books, if you speak to Kath in there,
I know Kath very well.
yes, she will
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you all
great.
about Mary Trevelyan, because she actually gave a talk in it to the local history society.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we're really lucky here.
Yeah.
Really lucky here, and it is a good place.
Yeah.
It's changed from.
And you're so lucky. It's not just you're lucky to live here and know so much about it. It's all of us. You just British. We're so lucky to have that. Good to see.
You know,
this heritage
I mean,
left.
we lost
you know?
a few. We are lucky here, and of course, we've got the train station nearby now, which when it closed in '64,
Yeah.
we've all missed it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Not the old bell, though.
And that's the old bell. I like the old bell, I must admit.
What did that sound like then, the one they've taken down?
What's it sound like?
The one that's in...
Oh, the other one,
yeah.
well, it was the curfew bell, which is a very ancient bell, and gosh, I think it was possibly the last time used when they were doing it to warn people, make sure that, the lights are out during the war and things like that.
Wow. It's great to see it rescued.
It is, and it's an important part of the history, and we're fortunate again, we've got good records and stuff in the archives and what is kept here. So, yeah, there's quite a few older people keeping this society going. We're encouraging younger people to come in because you want the bloodline to come through to keep promoting what we have here in Major.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks very much, Will. That was very illuminating, enlightening and
Well, I hope you
entertaining.
enjoy it as much as we all do.
Yeah, cheers. And we'll certainly take a look at that
that's all the
schoolhouse.
area where the hedge is down there, where they did the dig, right as far as probably that pile of logs there. And if you look online, Dr. Tim Young's got a blog on it.
Tim Young.
Yeah. And you can get up and catch up with everything that he's found, and you can see the students here, they're doing the dig and how many visitors are coming here to help out. And again, Alice Roberts came here, and you'll look to see them.
Yeah.
But if you look
Your first girlfriend, what?
Had a funny eye. Said she couldn't see me anymore.
And your second girlfriend was?
Oh, she had a funny eye. I think she was seeing somebody on the side.
And why are you talking about eye jokes then, Tim?
We've just been talking to Will, a very nice man. He said he had a very, very fierce and intimidating headmaster who happened to be cross-eyed. And I assume he couldn't control his pupils.
And Will was saying that he would tell somebody off over in the corner, and at the same time he'd be looking at him. That's the field that Will is talking about, where they're doing the digging for Britain. And they no doubt will have found history spanning 2,000 plus years. So we're heading to the church of... Who's the church of? Tim, whose church is this?
Ichtid.
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 The gentleman who was supposed to have buried Arthur. We picked the right day for this, haven't we? And there's Ichtid's cross. And do you remember Llandaff Cathedral? Tim was saying that the stone would have a hole in it, and the wooden crosses of peripatetic travelling religious people would be put in this stone. So the stone is of more import than the rest of it. And again, that's in two parts. What a beautiful day.
It is.
Do you think we'll get inside this one today?
Oh yeah, no problem.
That's old. Look at that there. Where the shade of the tree is, you can see an original archway bricked up. See the archway bricked up? Look at the height of that door.
You exploring?
Yeah, and we like the history.
Yeah.
Just looking at the huge arches
Yes.
inside and how it's been changed with the
Oh yes. I mean, it's been
Redesigning things.
built and rebuilt and refashioned for centuries, really.
it's fantastic.
It
Isn't it?
is.
But you're right.
It's
You know,
lovely.
you've got Cliffords and Owines and
Yes.
Arthurs and
And the Nicol family, who were big round here, they always had a son in every generation called Illtyd on a basis, you know, that.
yeah, because John Nicol, not senior, but the son is buried. It was a monument to him, so I assume he's buried there in Lambeth Cathedral,
Yes.
and that's the Nichols of Merthyr Mawr House, isn't it?
There were, I think there were Nichols there. There were Nichols in the what was called the Ham,
Oh right.
which was a big house here down on the Hodnant stream, more or
Okay.
less.
So what,
Big
was that the
estate.
same family, or was that?
I think they were all cross-related,
Yeah,
yes. I've been doing some research on the Price family.
Yeah.
I've just realised that the Price family are up on that wall, and I wanted to find out who the people were who built it. And I've read the account books in the Glamorgan archive, and the Price family were very big in it. But then in researching the Prices, I found out that they were related to the Bassets, and the Bassets were related to the Thomases, and the Thomases were related to the Andrews. So my family tree has now gone
It's just getting-
wider and wider and wider. But I realise I'm now walking through the graveyard going, oh, I know you.
Yeah, that's right.
I've met you.
Yeah. I've seen your name. Yeah.
Yeah, seen your name. So it's that funny sense of place and people. And of course, there are still people here who are descended from
Yeah.
the Deers and the Prices and
Yeah.
those.
And you
sorts
go
of
back
things.
so far, and we're all
Yes.
related to each other, and whether it's
Well,
back
yes,
forward,
but certainly.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these small communities, before the railways came, it was the gene pool was fairly limited. Somebody said that it was the bicycle that really opened up the genetic.
It probably
mix of the
was, actually,
country.
yeah. It probably was.
I think you might be right. I used to
Yeah.
know somebody who used to, she got pulled in by the police at 2 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? Cycling around one part of the city. I'm off to see my lover.
That's a good line. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Thank you very
both.
much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Do you think so? That's an old one, isn't it? Look at that one there. It's got a great old face on him. Look at that. How old is that? I mean, it's got modern writing on it. 1736.
You got it. Or 56. Either. 36. Yeah.
Every day's a learning day with you. I'm amazed. I would never have figured there was so much.
Everybody knows something I don't. For sure, for sure.
Morning. Is it still morning? Oh, it's gone. It's gone 12.
Just the job.
So come back with, it was a crochet there, look.
Yes.
Oh, I've turned that around to get a shot, and I did that in the cathedral. And it didn't work properly. That's interesting, you're hearing about the Nichols.
It is. It's interesting to hear about the saving the bell and no metal detecting on the field.
Yeah. Certainly is.
So that's just tiny examples. It's just two tiny examples in a 2-minute conversation. Hello. Where
Yeah.
we've got an attempt to lose the history. Get it? These bits on the walls were uncovered when they were doing a bit of restoration work, apparently.
Yeah, medieval wall art, isn't it? There's medieval wall art there as well. Isn't that beautiful? And then you've got the Gothic stuff. Saint Ichtyd. You can see the evidence of 2 rebuilds where there's apex roofs. 2 of. As I see, when I said medieval paintings, that one's dated 1604. That's another one as well. Nice carvings, isn't there? And that's a font that could be ancient because it'll be remodelled.
Fishtail design, isn't it?
Let's light a candle for Alan, Tony, and Ross. And long may their legacy continue. Where are we, Tim?
Oh yeah, Galloping Chapel and Clandestine Vale. retired railway worker in the 1970s, and he was just a porter or something on the railways, and he lived in Canton in Cardiff, and he worked out that you could use Welsh to translate the hieroglyphs. There were two sisters back in the 1700s. They said, "Oi, we found something here," and they went along to some group of scholars or Egyptologists or whatever they were, and were told to go away, and you women, you're talking rubbish. And I think there were a couple of other people as well, again, 17th, 18th century. Yeah. And time again, they were told, don't use this language, don't use that language, it's Welsh, and they were just ignored. So
Hence a conspiracy.
Yes. What is the name of this Facebook channel?
The Facebook.
The Facebook
Britain's
is
Hidden History.
Britain's
Hidden
a long
history.
history, both as a Viking base. I mean, it's still full of Vikings. Their flag looks like the Norwegian flag.
Yeah.
And but 5,000 years ago, the theory is that the whole Stonehenge thing started off, those stone circles, not at Stonehenge, but actually in the Orkneys, and moved south.
Right.
And it's very convincing.
Yes.
And Chris Packham is also on it, and various others. It's a BBC documentary, and I think it's called it's something like Britain's Hidden History or Britain's Ancient History.
Yeah.
Or no, Britain's Ancient Capital, that's it.
Right.
And just put Neil Oliver on it. And I think you'll find it very interesting.
Yeah. Look at that.
We've seen a couple of his because he is parallel with us.
Yes.
He believes also of a cover-up. And,
does he?
Yeah, things like that. And so, reveal the true history.
Yeah.
Are you also aware that there are, if you're into astronomy, astrology, and all that, you're also aware that these guys, Wilson and Black, had also found out that there are tumuli mounds across South Wales.
Yes.
And that, and there are people in our group working on this currently, but they think these mounds on the ground link into being a star map of the heavens.
Oh,
so as a
very likely.
And that's quite a fascinating thing. The work that I did myself on it, I can never quite get them to match up. But that's probably down to me, not.
Well, Orkney is a very interesting example of this. So we look at there's a huge stone circle in Orkney, and what they're doing there is pretty much exactly the same thing as they did on a bigger scale in Stonehenge. You have a wide stone circle, you align it to the rising sun.
So you have a marker stone, and then you have your 30 degree off
all of that.
Summer, winter solstice.
Precisely that, yes. And you can, that's a particularly good example because at Stonehenge the horizon is relatively flat. There it's a kind of low range of flattish hills, but it still works. You just line it up. And the Incas did that in South America as well, and many people in other places. It is a perfect calendar. Really.
So what's your theory? Was it just a perfect calendar? Because I seem to.
Well, it may have also developed some religious significance as well. But I suspect that whoever had the idea, it's probably just a small group of people that had the idea, thought of it at least partly as, if we do this, we can tell what time of year it is, and with that we can then work out what things we should be doing at that time of year.
And a further thing that it would tell them, right?
Yeah.
Is that what was it? It was the man, the eagle, the lion. And what was the other one? The man, the eagle, the lion, and the bull, I think it was.
Yes.
And if they are in sync with each other, then everything's okay with the heavens. Once they start getting out of sync, you could determine whether there were going to be whether an eclipse was due or whether there was cometary instability that was going to threaten the Earth, because there have been times when the Earth has been hit by massive comets, meteors, etc., and civilization has really died out.
And people all over the world are doing that. The Assyrians are doing that, Babylonians, all sorts of people, by an empirical collection of data over a long period of time, they could say, well, if things are set up in this particular way, we're going to have problems, or we're entering a time of stability.
Start digging holes.
And there were even quite a lot of people, relatively recent people actually, I know who had been, one in particular, who predicted the advent of COVID because of very similar astrological, or I think I prefer to use the word cosmological these days, cosmological setups to the Black Death.
Yeah.
You know, it was a plague signal from, and I know somebody who's very prominent in that field who had seen something of this coming.
So people studying sunspots and solar flares.
It's still going on.
And looking at coronas, dare I say.
All this stuff is still going on, by the way. It isn't purely historical. And there are many, many people who use it, for instance, to predict the stock market and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is what my book is all about, that history of the whole thing.
What is your book about again then?
It's essentially the economic and relationship between humanity and the sky, or what, and I call it the sustaining cosmos.
Is that the name of the book?
Yeah.
The Sustaining Cosmos.
Yeah.
So look out for it.
Well, you have to look out for it. We're just talking to a publisher at the moment.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about.
Where are we,
for a
Tim?
long period of time.
Caer Mead. Just about a mile northwest of Llantwit Major.
And which is Caer Mead?
Caer Mead is just to the east of us, and it is this side of the horizon. It's just that slightly raised site area of ground that you can see in front of the hedge line, this side of the hedge line. And there's not, from this point, there's not very much to see at all. But the photographs that were on display at
Town Hall down in
Little
London.
History, Little History sort of offices in Llantwit Major will give you a lot more information, and there's other information online which would be a lot more informative. But this was excavated in the early 1900s, and they started excavating it, and then I think the establishment, the authorities got involved, came down from London. Men in suits arrived apparently, and shut down the excavations. But there were some wonderful floors there. They found some skeletons of horses, and I think the established archaeologists say that it was a Roman villa. It may have been that. It may have been a British palace, according to Wilson and Blackett, and but there was definitely something here, and the excavations, the official excavations that were done, revealed that it was a sizable building of considerable importance, and it wouldn't have just been something that was owned by an ordinary person, should we say.
Well, Carl, the archaeologist that we know, his version of this being a Roman villa is that pirates came in off the sea and destroyed it.
How interesting is that?
Alan Wilson's version, I think, is destroyed by the comet.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, I wonder if Carl's pirates were Welsh pirates, because a lot of them were.
Where are we, Tim?
St. Calvin.
In St. Cadoc's Church in Llancarvan, in the Vale of Glamorgan. Stunning
Some fantastic paintings.
post-medieval church, dating from way before 1600s. Because everything in here is 1600, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a font, which could well be remodelled from an ancient medieval font.
What is the church famous for then, Tim?
The murals, which were found relatively recently.
The murals.
Yeah. So we've got lots of pictures all over the church walls, and they are quite stunning. We've got at least 7 dragons there. One being slain by George, St. George. And the others there, which probably depicting
7 deadly sins, maybe.
Yeah. They're quite stunning.
Yeah, and the tourist blurb says that Edward VII, I think it said, didn't it?
Yeah.
Decided that throughout Britain, all the church. So we might have the 7 deadly sins.
Looks like it. Beautifully graphic, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what he's up to there. That's the devil. And 7 dragons, 7 deadly sins. Lots of information from the tourist board. And this is where they're doing the archaeology, taking it right back. Just up the hill is the birthplace of Iolo Morgannwg, Edward Williams. Sundial outside the church may even have been carved by him.
According to a guide to the Saints of Wales and the West Country by Ray Spencer, published in 1991, Saint Cadoc, or Caducus, or Catug, died 560 AD as an abbot. His feast day is the 25th of September. Born either at Fochrw in Mid Glamorgan or at Acht Gwynllw in Newport, Gwent. He was the son of Gwynllw, King of Gwent, and Saint Gladys, daughter of King Brychan, so he was a prince. In 500 AD, Cadoc went to be educated at Llanuchtyd Fawr, and later by Saint Tathan at Caer. He founded his first church in Caerleon, though his principal monastery was at Llancarvan, South Glamorgan. And this became a major centre of learning. And from that centre of learning you get the Llancarvan charters. He founded numerous churches throughout Wales and went over to Ireland with St Gildas and possibly St David. He returned to Wales for a short period. Then in 546 AD he journeyed to Brittany and became a hermit near Etel. Legend says that he became Bishop of Benevento in Italy and was martyred there, but it is more likely that he died at Llancarvan in Wales when his monastery was attacked by pagans. Some scholars suggest that he even died at Ben Evium, which was Weedon in Northamptonshire. St Cadoc was the cousin of King Arthur II and was one of the 2 knights who were apparently put in charge of the legendary Holy Grail. An ancient stone discovered at Llandefaelog Fach in Powys, and now in the church, is perhaps Cadoc's burial stone. He wrote the famous Wisdom of Catug, or Catug Doeth. The monastery at Llancarvan at dusk, according to the charters of Llancarvan, say that abbots Cadoc and Ichtyd covered up the murders of Idneth, brother of Arthur, and also of Arthur ap Brychan Brycheiniog and one other man, by assassins led by Owen Burr. And they did this most probably to prevent civil war. Owen Burr was hidden away in the monastery at dusk for 14 years, but Arthur found him after about 7, and then through the courts a blood fee was paid of 300 red and white cows, and they probably the forerunner of the Hereford Red. Cadoc's brother or grandfather are both named Gliois, and Gliois was named as a beneficiary on the land grant stone at Ogmore Castle, which is now held in St Fagan's Folk Museum. Cadoc talked both his father and his mother into becoming saints, and his father founded St Woolow's Cathedral, Newport. 2 of Cadoc's students were named Barach and Vashes. And there's a story of a book that was lost on a visit to Flatholm or Echny Island in the Severn Estuary. And the book was of such value to Cadoc that he sent both Barach and Vashes back for the book, and they both got drowned. Vashes' body was washed up on Flatholm, and Barach's body washed up on Barry Island. So Barach was buried on Barry Island above Jackson's Bay, where the ruins of his church remain, and Vashes was buried on Flatholm. Remarkably, the book was found in a fish that was caught. And because the book was found inside a fish, this was deemed a miracle, and so the burial of Barach was venerated. Nearby the church ruins of Barach on Barry Island, a monastery was built. The monastery has disappeared, but you can visit the remains of St. Barach's church. I seriously doubt that the 2 bodies could so easily have been washed up on the 2 islands and that a book could be found in a fish. But nevertheless, the pilgrimage to St. Barach's church was such that 4 visits to St. Barach's was equal to 1 visit to Rome. The holy well on Barry Island near the station was said to be good for curing headaches. St. Cadoc's mother Gladys had her chapel on Caer Common, and a tombstone was found on the common, which is now located at Caer Church.
Have discussion afterwards. Yeah, that was a real treat. Thanks, Paul.
It
Thanks,
was.
Tim.
There's an incredible depth of history in Wales, isn't there?
Mm.
I was you followed almost the route that we were walking that day in Llantwit, you followed almost exactly. We had a very nice chat with a woman in the bookshop as well.
You did.
And yeah, and visited a number of those places. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
One of the things about the wells I found very interesting in that, there are a couple of Welsh wells I've seen in recent times, which are fascinating. One near up in West Wales, not very far from Lampeter, where Llewellyn ap Griffith was killed by the English, the last Prince of Wales, and the well at the bottom of the sort of monument to him there, which still looks pretty much as it must have done, I think, when the Norman knight killed him and cut off his head and washed it in that well.
Well,
Mm.
And that has that same sort of ancient look
Yeah.
as the wells you were looking at there.
Apparently, there's something like 300 in Pembrokeshire alone. I heard
Really?
something like that. I've heard that. Yeah, I
Mm.
can't confirm it, but it seems to be really close association with the British Welsh Christianity in water, basically the element of water.
Yeah.
No, it's not devoid in Christianity altogether, but it seems to be something that happens outdoors in a well. You know, some of the wells I've explored with Peter on the channel in Cornwall. It's sort of some amazing places which are really out of the way, near ancient hermitages and things like that. So these wells, some of them are very ancient, probably.
Mm. They are, I'm sure.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
the origins of the springs, at least. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Some in the Historia Britonum, I think, as well, isn't it? Or the Mirabilia. Some
Right.
of the wells mentioned in there.
I'll have to double check.
Yeah, I think it's to do with Tewdrig.
Uh-huh.
Off the top of my head, like, but
Yeah.
check it out.
Excellent.
Can I ask about Caer Meads? Is that a public right of way, or do you need permission for that?
we didn't get into the field, but for one, it was way too muddy. But the farmer was working in the fields with his tractor, and off to the one side of it, there was a huge herd of cows.
Oh yeah.
So
You,
no,
you were
we
just in
didn't
the
go in.
lane, you.
Sorry?
You were just in the lane. Is it like a
Yeah,
lane?
in the lane, and you can't really
Okay.
park easily either.
Ah, right. Okay.
But I should think you could put a drone over there, though.
Mm.
But you couldn't really see much anyway because it's
Mm.
been reburied.
Yeah.
This luckily photos. Sorry, David.
I was just looking at the old maps, and there's some earlier ones than 1880, and it's not recorded as Caer Mead there. It's called, the actual house or the ruined area is called Caer Morgan, not Caer, and it doesn't have Roman villa written next to it either.
Mm.
Caer Morgan, and then Caer Mead is a little bit further down.
Paul, another question, sorry. When you were at Ystrad, did you think about mentioning Mauryan at all?
No, I didn't. I only briefly read the one book, and I
Oh,
didn't.
you only briefly. I think it's one of the mounds mentioned by him, but
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Thinking about it, you're probably right. Yeah.
I'll have a look at it.
Mauryan got a mention in Arturius Rex Discovered by
He is
Alan.
mentioned, see?
Yeah, right at the end. It must have been his History of Wales because the book was quoted as 1911.
Oh, okay, I'll check that out.
That was quite funny reading that. I was asking Margaret, well, where's the mound then in Pwllgwaun? And we were racking our brains where on earth it was. And then you came up with, well, it's on Mound Road.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but we used to live on Mound Road. And
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I live really close to Mound Road, just off it.
Did you?
Yeah.
We didn't click with us because Mauryan called it Pwllgwaun because we know it as Mysocoid.
Well, it was completely undeveloped at that time, but yeah, it was. I think it was there. I've got some sources to look at, but I think that was it.
Yeah, the interesting depiction of St. George as well, Paul.
Yeah, and there's a St. George's down in the Vale. There's a village called St. George's.
Yes.
Tim talked about it outside Llandaff Cathedral, didn't he?
Yeah. You got used to drive past it when I lived in Cardiff on the way back from Landsford Major. It's so it's got it.
Oh, it's worked.
Well
Here
done,
we
Dave.
are.
All right.
The railway now is right over here. So, yeah, that's from the the Scottish side-by-side viewer.
Yeah. Right.
It's 1860, I think. As well.
Caer Morgan, well, could that be Morgan Moynvawr, one of Arthur's later sons?
Paul, the Samson stone, that name or that version of Arthur, Art Marley, never
Never heard of it.
heard that one before. All
No,
the
it's
different types of Arthurs there are. Arthur Marley, that's
perhaps
new.
it's perhaps it's a version of Art Mile.
Yeah, Art Mail.
Maybe they couldn't read the stone very clearly. Art Marley comes out of Artorius Rex.
It's in Artorius Rex, is it?
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
That.
You won't find any of the information I put out on the tourist placards there.
Actually,
I got that out of Artorius Rex discovered. The
can't see it on the stone.
3 crosses were, yeah. Well, I don't know. I wasn't looking for it on the day. I didn't have the presence of mind to study it in advance.
It's, Tim pointed out something. He spelled out something on there. I couldn't see exactly what it was.
And the one thing that really does blow people's minds is the fact of translating hieroglyphs with Welsh. As soon as Tim told him about that, he was hooked. I think rightly so as well.
Yeah, I think that there's someone who's made a video criticizing it recently, a mainstream history guy. He's completely overlooking the fact that it was a legitimate academic pursuit for a long time, just before the First World War. It just lost traction, and it's like just trying to get it up and running again. It's a good argument for it, and it worked.